And then there's other actors where they need to feel like they're doing a good job.
Is there a filmmaker's almanac?
Man, if there is, I want to read it. Yeah, I don't know. Is there anything an equivalent to it? I don't know. There's some books on filmmaking that I absolutely love. For me, Judith Weston's Directing Actors book is like an almanac for me. I always reread it before going on to set and then writing down action verbs in my script to help actors come up with action verbs to help elicit emotions that you're looking for on set. If you haven't read, if you're interested in directing, because 80% of directing is working with your actors, like blocking and doing adjustments, and so having action verbs, you definitely get a better result from giving an action verb than like an adjective.
Sorry, can you explain?
Or
can you
a
give
color.
me one? Can you try that out?
Oh yeah, it's like you guys have a scene and you're angry, but you're angry, but instead of being like, oh, can you be more angry or more mad, or can you yell louder? Instead of things like that, you can give an adjustment like, I want you to, knife him or agitate him.
Okay.
And then it allows to, from Judith Weston's mind, which, I'm sure somebody could probably reiterate this better than me, but, the thing is, it's being able to understand something physically in the scene allows you to materialize it better than just like an adjective. And listen, it's not like you use an action verb and all of a sudden you're going to magically get what you want, but you also start creating a language of how you're communicating with your actor, and then you're starting to, because a lot of times this always happens, you're like, oh, we're going to do all this rehearsal and we're going to figure out the character before we roll on day one, and then none of it happens and we're all there and we're rolling on day one and we're like, okay, let's figure out this character. Why don't you knife him? And they're like, no, that didn't feel right. No, that didn't feel right. I don't think this character is as angry as we think we did. There's a little bit of a disappointment. So what's something we could do that could show disappointment, and then maybe coming up with an action verb for that. Most actors are like, what the heck are you talking about? But it's a process, and you're always figuring out, nobody is created equal, and so you're always coming up with your own way of how you communicate with all the actors anyways. There's not like one blanket way of how you work with an actor. It's just coming up with your own way to how you communicate with somebody. How you work with one actor isn't necessarily the same of how you work with another one or with a different actor. And so you kind of learn that, and you try to figure that out before you get on set, but that never, if you're lucky enough, maybe you do, but you really, real work happens on set when you're blocking and doing takes and things like that. And so over time, you really start to learn how you're going to work with that actor. And, good luck. If you got 5 actors on set, you got your hands, you're going to have your hands full if you really want to try to get something specific from everybody. But ultimately, you also want to be with people that you trust. Ideally, they're the experts in the character. They're bringing to the table of who they think that character is. And so if you've casted well, you're just guiding, just shepherding along, like, this is the direction where we're going. This is the water, you know.
As a director, what is your approach to building a scene?
Oh, well, you know, when you're building a scene, you always want to think about the emotion of what is happening with the characters. So depending on what that is how you would build it. So depending on if it's suspense or, you know, a lot, that's the first part of it. And then, you know, blocking always dictates where you're going to put the camera. And so I always think about blocking first, of like, this character is going to be here, this person's entering from here. What's the dynamic between the two, you know, which character has power over the other one, just with power dynamics perhaps, or and start thinking of it that way. And then, you know, depending on where, if you're on location, you know, you're not always going to have the luxury of building a set. I mean, if you get to build a set where the door and the window is exactly where it needs to be and everything for what you have in your mind, you know, then you can really set a tone and an emotion that way as well for your movie. But if you're adapting to what you have, you know, your blocking will dictate that. And so, but yeah, I mean, coming back to it, it's the the emotion of like what is happening in the scene, what's gonna reflect that, and you kind of build out from there.
What do you say to actors after you say cut?
Great job. Let's go again.
Okay.
It all depends. You know, it all depends. What you say to an actor after you say cut, you always want to be encouraging. You always want to feel collaborative. And you also want to, you know, collaborative is the big one. I think you always want to be encouraging afterwards. I think that's very important after you yell cut. Sometimes after you yell cut, you're lucky if you can get a word in, because usually there's 100 questions coming at you immediately after you say cut. So if you can get a word in, great. Because you're going to have to answer a lot of questions. And even from actors, they're like, oh, was that more, did I knife him the way you wanted me to knife him? Yeah, that was great. That was great. Yeah, I mean, it's all about collaboration. So you always want to be encouraging, and then you want to be real too. There's nothing wrong about being real. Like, that didn't work. Let's try something different. That's okay. You know, we got enough time to do a bunch of different takes. Let's explore. Let's see what we need to do. You know, a lot of times too, people are just like, oh, the light went off halfway through the take and you didn't even notice it. So thank God someone mentioned that, or there was like a bump in the camera, or the picture fell off the wall halfway through the performance or something like that. So,
Do you think actors respect that, though, if you are more middle of the road, so it's not super cheery and, oh, wow, that's amazing, because then they feel like maybe you're blowing smoke a little?
it depends. It all depends on the person, because I feel like there's actors I've worked with where they just want the adjustment, and they don't really need anything else. And then there's other actors where they need to feel like they're doing a good job. They need that little extra encouragement to know that they're going in the right direction. So it all depends, and that's why what I was saying before, it's just like you're learning how you're collaborating with each person, and how you're communicating with them, because you're not communicating with everybody the same way.
Thank you for watching the video all the way to the end. Here is a complimentary question from our book Story Questions.